Welcome to Wisdom Exchange TV. My name is Suzanne F Stevens, Chief Edge Optimizer for the Ignite Excellence Group of Initiatives. One of our initiatives is the Ignite Excellence Foundation, which invests, inspires, and develops future leaders in emerging countries. With that spirit, we host and produce Wisdom Exchange TV, where we interview pioneers, trailblazers, leaders of many in philanthropy, business, education, and politics. We are with Lydia Muso, which is a philanthropist and a wonderful woman who's created the Lesotho Child Counseling Unit, an orphanage that she founded at her residence in 2001. Lesotho Child Counseling Unit, which provides temporary and safe home for rehabilitation care of sexually, physically, and emotionally abused children. The home offers trauma therapy and legal advocacy to children and families dealing with abuse and conducts community training to promote awareness and action for abused children. A tenacious activist for human rights, especially the rights of children, Lydia has worked tirelessly to raise awareness of the importance of issues such as trafficking of persons in Lesotho, holding annual sensitization campaigns for the past 3 years. She also created the Children's Voice online newspaper, where you can find the website at the bottom of her bio, in 2012, the first publication of its kind in Lesotho, which helps raise awareness of the challenges facing the Lesotho children today. Over the past 11 years, she has offered more than 2,000? I'm tired of just listening to that number. Children, shelter, protection, and food. Most important of all, she gives these children a loving home. Lydia is the first ever Lesotho Women of Courage Award recipient. This award honors women who demonstrate exceptional courage, strength, and leadership in advocacy for human rights, social justice, and the women's equality of advancement. Let's welcome our leading lady, Lydia. Oh, it is such a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
I'm honored because of the work that you do and the impact that you make. What was the catalyst for starting the Child Counsel Unit in the first place?
What I really wanted to see happening was a place or a home where these children, especially children who are suffering abuse, children who are living in pain, I wanted to see them being healed psychologically, mentally, and somehow, because these children, when they are in difficult circumstances, they've got nowhere to go, they don't know where to go, they don't have a shoulder to cry on. Some of them, the lucky ones, do have relatives, but with the kind of environment that has changed, our culture has changed so much. Children, we used to say in Lesotho that your child is my child. That is, the child belonged to all members of the community. But that practice has changed. We don't see it happening anymore. So this is something that drove me to end up finding this home for these children, having this temporary place of safety for these children.
Why you?
This is something that I've been dreaming, because in my family we are 7 children, and my father used to ask, tell me, you, what are you going to be when you grow up? What would you like to become when you grow up? And I remember I used to tell my father that I want my name to be read in big books. He used to like reading newspapers, and I told him that one day you will read about me in that newspaper. So I didn't know what to do. I didn't know, what was my dream at that moment. But what I heard was that my name would be read in big newspapers. So I think this is something that I dreamt about at that early stage, but I think it grew up in me. It grew up in me. Even today, I'm where I am because of that dream. You know, we are 7, as I told you, but we grew up with other children from other families. My father, I think I took it from my own father, because he used to help these other children. He used to tell us, this child doesn't have food. Try to give him food and give him your clothes. Then as I grew up, it came back that okay, this is what my father wanted to put in me, to instill in my head, that we need to think of other people. We need. I'm not saying that I grew up in a rich family. No, we're also poor, but to share the little that we have. I think why me? Because of the influence that I got from my own family.
When you took the first child in, it was in 2001.
Exactly.
What happened that you took that first child in?
Because I had to work very hard to make people know my dream. So I was knocking at the office. I had some friends that went to school together, so I knocked at the offices. Hey guys, this is what I want to do. At some societies where we used to be together for other social purposes, then I told them my dreams. Hey, this is what I want to do, to see myself doing in future. Then they were saying, but are you crazy? How are you going to start? Then I said, I will say I don't know, but I want to take this risk. Then one day, as I was sitting here, I got a call from a friend of mine. She was working at the magistrate court out far away in the north. And then she said, hey, here's a case of children. I still remember you said you want to help children who are abused. I said, yes, I do. And then she said, I'm bringing them today. I said, please bring them. I did not have food. I did not have money. I just said, bring them, I'll see what I'll do. So she brought the two children. Unfortunately, it was a terrible case. It was already a court case. So these children needed a place to just to change the environment and to kind of get a healing. So then they were terribly beaten. In fact, they were just about, they were stabbed, I would say. They were stabbed by their own father, and at the end he tried to kill himself, but he did not. So he went to jail. Then this friend of mine felt pity for these children, that she needs to take them to a safer place. So these are the first children that came to me. These are siblings, and I think that is where everything started, because the children were healed emotionally, and they went back to school after that, and they are doing well now, and I heard they are married. So they've been here, they've showed me, they brought their children to me, and I am so proud of what I'm doing.
Why abused?
Yes, I think a child who's living under abuse is ends up not knowing which is the right thing. So here I am giving them the love, and I don't expect them to bring back to me or to pay back what I have given them. So here I'm just giving them life. I looked at my own self, and I was in a position to say that I think what my personality is, I would be able to care for these abused children. And you know what I did? I took a book, I wrote my dream book. Then I wrote about myself. Just I made some small notes about my weaknesses and my strength. Then I was in a position that I think I can understand, I can work with these children, I can give them care, and I can love them, because my own parents loved me, gave me love, and I wanted these children also to have the same experience that I got from my own parents.
Good advice too, to write notes about your strengths and weaknesses.
Yes.
I did that about 15 years ago myself,
Oh.
and it got me focused on my path too, and it's a good exercise, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
You've helped counsel over 2,000 children. Can you describe some of the types of trauma many of these children have gone through?
Child neglect here in Lesotho seem to be at a very high statistics because of many reasons. For instance, parents neglect their children because they are out there to source the income to feed the very same children they have neglected. One of the abuses that I came across was children who have been sexually abused by their own parents, children who've been sexually abused by their relatives, because this is what I learned, that children with sexual abuse, the perpetrators are already known in the family. And this is the strategy they use to get to the children. And some of the abuses that I came across was children who have been trafficked. And mostly they are trafficked either within the country itself or outside the country. And also we have children whose property have been grabbed. You know, it's so common here that children who lose their parents at early stage, the relatives are there. Instead of relatives protecting the same children, now they see what they can grab, they see what they can get from the estates of the children. So it's so common. We even have an office which is dealing directly with the estates, protecting the estates of the children, and so it's working very well.
Abuse, as covering all the things you just said. Do you think it is worse in Lesotho than anywhere else, or do you think it's just as bad?
I think it is happening all over the world. Yes. You know, there were traditionally, we do have some practices that are good. We do have some practices that are destructive. So what I'm trying to say here is some practices that have been so negative, at some stage they were kind of accepted. So sort of like, for instance, if you force a child to go to a marriage, there's forced marriage. It's very common here. We have children who are 11 years of age who have been forced into marriage. So this is yet another kind of abuse that we come across. Because if you ask a person who is older, why do you think children are being forced into marriage, then she will tell you it is something that happened a long time ago. I was forced into marriage myself. So then I don't see why are you making noise that today you see it as a crime. Those negative practices were accepted in the whole nation. But now we are making noise that it is a crime, because children's rights is one phenomena that people did not really come out and talk about, and to teach people about what is the meaning of the rights and the responsibility. These are some of the things that have been there, but they've been quiet. Nobody talked about them. Nobody knew anything about their rights. That is why now at the moment there's a big confusion. People are saying rights is something that is new, that is coming in. And then we are saying, no, the rights have been there ever since you were in your mother's womb. Your mother was giving you the right to eat. While she was eating, she was wearing, you were also wearing because she was keeping you warm. When you were angry, you were kicking her. So we are trying to make people understand gradually what is all about this rights and the like. So these are some of the things that people are not aware of, that they've been happening ever since.
Who's helping you make people aware?
We work hand in hand with other organizations to go out and make community awareness. For instance, now in November, normally on the 19th of November is the day of prevention of child abuse, and it has been a practice that here every year we go out and advocate for the rights of the children. Especially we make noise on human trafficking, because it is one hidden crime. It is so hidden because reported cases are so few, and yet it is something that is happening. So it falls under those practices that were happening, but people are not aware that they were actually making crime. To them, it's normal. If you come here, you want to take my child, okay, you are helping me. After all, I'm so poor, I need to feed the child, and if you want to take them, so nobody cares. If my child comes here with money, Do you think I have time to ask him, where did you get the money? I'm hungry, I take the money, we make food, we eat. So these are some of the practices. Now we are making people aware that they should be careful, find out, talk, ask their children, where have you been? You've been away for 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. What is happening with you? Are you still going to school? Some children go to school every morning, but they are not in the class. As a parent, you go to school and talk to the teacher. Is my child coming to school? No, he's not coming to school. But every morning she leaves the house, goes to school. But she's not in the classroom.
I was really quite happy to see, crossing so many borders in Africa, to see the trafficking posters.
Okay.
In a lot of places, and saying trafficking is a crime.
It is.
And that's the poster I remember going through. 15 borders is that particular poster. So wonderful awareness campaign. What do you think we as society, and we as society, meaning Lesotho and Africans as a society, can do to limit the amount of abuse children receive?
If they can understand children and take them as human beings and respect them, I think this could lead us to minimizing the level of abuse. I had a terrible case last month. A child whose own father came in, he found the family sitting in the house. He started burning everybody, threw the petrol and burnt everybody. This child was the only one who was saved. Mother passed away, brother passed away, mother passed away. This child, I don't know what happened. A miracle happened. She's the only one who was safe. People don't know where to take out their anger and how to take it out. If you are angry about something, I think I would rather go out and talk to a friend of mine, talk to my mother that I'm angry. Because if you swallow the anger, one day it will come out, one thing for sure. It will come out onto the wrong person. These are people who are angry, who grew up with the scars. We do have prisons, and I hope you have prison here in Canada with a lot of people who have committed crime. These people were pushed about something that pushed them to do the crime. These are angry people, and if they are not healed, if they don't get the emotional or psychological healing, the scar will grow up with them. I wish people who are angry could come up now as we are talking, to come up and say what made them angry. What is it that they have here? A grudge, something like that. A grudge, if you grow up with a grudge, one day it will come out, and always to the wrong people.
Well, you have therapists, obviously you have that service here for children to recover, but is there therapists in Lesotho for adults who are depressed or angry?
Yes, we do have, even though it exists while they are already in prison.
I see, yeah. And so it's helping them get,
so it should be prevented before it could happen. So what is happening at the moment is there are societies of men, there are societies of women, and they are trying to cover this up so that people could go, people know where to go now when they are angry, to take out their anger. There are different activities that are going on around the country for people to release their anger. There are psychologists, there are marriage counselors, for instance.
Now, do you think also in society that it would be important also to pay attention to your neighbor? And Africans by nature pay attention to their neighbor, but often you know what's going on before it actually happens.
Yes, exactly. There's no confidentiality in our society, unfortunately. Everybody knows, now that you are here, they've seen you, and maybe they're even aware why you are here. Sometimes they create their own stories, but they've seen that you're here, they can talk about you all over. So there's no confidentiality. So they know everything that is happening in the community. And our culture was made in such a way that it's a helping culture. We have some activities where men go and discuss men's issues. If a man is misbehaving or hating her wife or not being responsible to something was done to that men. If a woman or a girl is doing, but these are good practices that now are vanishing. They are vanishing away. They are just fading away. So what we are trying to do now is to work slowly to bring back those good practices. We are forming what we call child focus groups in the communities. By child focus groups, we mean groups that are focusing to protect children. That is, children themselves, they form their own groups, they do traditional dances, they kick football or whatever. And then at the end of the day, they should not forget to protect themselves. So we give them different topics on child protection topics like children's rights, child abuse, prevention of abuse, reporting systems, and we tell them about the new coming mechanisms that are there in the country to protect themselves. So these are child participatory forums. And then we also have community child welfare forums. These are just ordinary people like you and me, my neighbor, whoever. We put them together. We are trying to bring back the good practices that your child was my child. Every child belongs to the community. So this forum of the child welfare forum is anybody to be responsible to a child, to protect a child, which was a good practice. But now everybody is busy. Everybody's going to school, wants to get money, feed her own children. So we want people not to be self-centered. We want people to think about their neighbors. What I don't like is to see children who grow up at an institution. We strongly recommend children to grow up in their own communities because they will maintain their cultural practices. Because here in the institutions, then life is different. Institutional care, honestly, it shouldn't be a home for children for the last day. It should be just temporarily, a shoulder to cry on, temporarily. At the end of the day, children should go back to their communities and grow up there. So it's very important that we bring back all these good practices.
What can we do as a parent to minimize the abuse without putting ourselves in jeopardy?
As parents, we should remember our parental skills, because now I see the community is so busy. Father is working, mother is working. When they come from work, they are so tired, and there's someone who's taking care of children here at home. So that when you come back from work, you already find food, you already find things are in order. Now there's time for you with your child, sitting down with your child, trying to continue with that bond. So it's getting thinner and thinner because people don't have much time to spend, or parents don't have much time to spend with their children because of a lot of reasons that I've shown, especially of this week. We have people parents who are working recently, but long time ago in Lesotho, men used to be the only breadwinners in the families. But now we even have women now. Women are coming up, doing something to bring bread in their families. Perpetrators are watching the movement of the parents. They know at this time that parents will be out, children will be playing out there. While they are playing out there, I'm busy doing my other things there. And then I think late in the evening, or if I don't see a child coming in, that is when I say, hey, where is my child? So I think we should also try to give ourselves enough time while we are doing whatever we are doing. Also remember that we have children, because the perpetrator, remember, is watching us, is watching our movement, knows what is happening, and they have techniques that are so sophisticated. They come in here, they befriend themselves with us, so that when they grab the child won't be surprised that he was taken by a friend of the family. And also not to forget to always sit down with our children to also remember their responsibilities of not, for instance, not playing away from home, not coming home late, because life is changing for our young people. When they come back from school, instead of going home, they'll go and stand, at the shop somewhere, make those small, groups, and then time is moving. It's getting late. The perpetrator knows that at this time of the day, he will definitely get someone. We have a few cases that are reported. A lot are not reported. We have children who are pregnant. And these children who are pregnant, as you follow up, you find that they became pregnant because of rape. And they never reported. They decided to keep quiet because sexual activities is something that is not talked about. You cannot come and tell your parent that you are sexually active. No, it cannot happen in that way.
If a parent, does this ever happen? One of the parents sexually abuses their own children.
Mm-hmm.
Does that happen?
Yes.
So if I'm the other parent,
Yes.
and I know that is happening,
Yes.
how would you recommend that parent, knowing that it's happening, what should that parent do?
It's quite sensitive because most of the breadwinners end up becoming the abusers. And the mother would decide to keep quiet because as she reports her husband, it means there would be no bread in the family. There would be no school fees for the children. As women, we must focus more on the parental love more than the physical needs of no food, no clothes if I report. What is important is love. The love and the bond that you once had with your child, it should continue. It should be a continuous activity. It should not be broken down by these abuses. So if abuse happens with your child, remember the bond. You are the mother who first of all had the pain delivering this child, bringing this child in this way. How can you forget about that pain and not protect your own child, not wish your child well? Instead, you'd rather protect your husband more than your child. This is something that we are trying to say. Women, come up, report abuse. Some women are keeping quiet. When they watch their children, they discover that something is wrong here. And instead of talking, that communication between mother and child should also continue. This is something that is fading away also. Instead of asking the child, come my child, tell me what is happening here. I find this and this and this. It is happening so seldom. You'd rather keep quiet. It goes further from you as a mother. It goes further to the child. The child will also keep quiet when she's a grown-up because she never learned it, that reporting a crime is very important to do because it protects someone's life.
What are some of the signs of an abused child?
That emotionally, children are supposed to be seen playing and socially mixing with other children. A child who is abused does not do this. Is always outside there, sitting on her own. Some of the signs of the abused child is physical abuse. You can see maybe bruises and sexual abuse. We can also see when you wash your child. Sometimes doesn't want anyone to touch the private parts. Then it means you have to pay attention to that. Something is wrong there. Maybe the eating habits, sleeping habits, sleeping patterns also. They scream during the night, shouting and crying and hitting other children. Parents should be observant to their own children. they should be in a position to identify their children when they are not happy, because that is a very strong clue that is something is wrong with my child. These are the symptoms that parents should really observe. When she's sitting there, mind you, she's not keeping quiet. In her mind, something is happening. She's thinking about what has happened to her. She's having the pain. She has this pain. It's so painful that it has happened to her. So she is thinking. That is why some of the children who have been abused, they end up in a mental hospital. So, and also the communication, as I said, always find out, communicate with your child. How was it today? How did you spend your day? Try to talk more. Give yourself time to sit down with your child and talk about life as it is. Because even if your child comes from school, can you bring your school fees here? Your school bag. Let me see what happened here. What did you do? This brings back the communication. It makes it much stronger and very, very, effective. Because your child will tell you, will open up when there is something wrong. So I'm afraid our society is changing. As I said, people are busy now. So what we are trying to say is that to strengthen is to bring back that parenthood. And there's a lot of alcoholism happening amongst families. So some children are abused because of negligence, because parents are way busy drinking alcohol or whatever. So children are not protected. So that is the perpetrator and pedophiles. I want to also the pedophiles here. The pedophiles they study all this. They study all this movement. They see that okay. This child is moving, or the parents is going to drink. Then it means the child is alone at home. That is when they grab them.
So what can a child do if they are being abused?
If children are being abused, we encourage them to go to, in the communities there are different mechanisms that protect children. We have the chief. A child can go to the chief. A child can go to a friend, can share a friend in their own groups at school, teachers, nurses, any influential person in the community they can tell. And then it is the responsibility of that person to report to the police, so that then the perpetrator is removed from the community to protect other children as well. So we encourage them to form forums where they can sit down and talk about the whatever their interest, and then we teach them also to observe themselves while they are playing or singing. Then they will say, well, now we were playing, but you are not playing, then there's something wrong. Then they will report to the teachers that yesterday while we were playing, this someone is not playing. We also have training workshops with teachers, how to observe the children and other community members. There are chiefs, there are teachers, there are community-based support groups. Yes, they are formed all over. That it should be the responsibility of the community actually to protect its own children. You see, we don't want to see immediately, oh, that child has been abused and they should be removed to the institutions. No, what we are saying is the community should apply the first aid. That is the first aid that is healthy. Because you know what was happening a long time ago, when a child was sexually abused, she would be called by a group of women, and they would examine that child physically, whether sexual abuse happened. So what we are saying, we say that one is wrong. Women don't examine a sexually abused child because you are not doctors. That one will be dealt with at the hospital. So what you need to do is just to protect that child, report to the chief, report to the police, and protect the child. So this is what we are trying to encourage the community to do.
If you could just describe to us some of the implications and challenges of overcoming the abuse. Do you have some insight into that?
The implications of child abuse are many, because even at school, the concentration just goes off. Children who are being abused, they sort of, or let me say, abuse itself to one child becomes a learned behavior. If you see a child who is beating other children, for instance, a child might beat other child because she's angry. The child who's beating other might beat a child because she's taking out her anger because something wrong happened to her. That is how she gets satisfaction. She releases her anger. Then they have this language, abusive language also. They also, what was done to them, they will also practice unto other children. Someone who grew up with abuse and was never healed psychologically will end up abusing everyone.
Thank you for that, because I think it's really important that we see the implications. If we don't stop this abuse, what can happen to that individual and ultimately society?
The society will be such an abusive society.
Now, as a parent who is not doing any of the abusing, what steps should they take to help the recovery of that child?
I think what they need to do is to develop the friendship that was once there, and it was distorted somewhere at the stage of development. So they need to reverse back and look back and remember all the responsibilities and remember their roles towards protecting these children. So gradually try to bring back all the connections, physical connections, exactly, because it was distorted, and to bring it back, it is not so easy. It can't come up within a day. So parents should remember to be close and to be close to their children. And if a child is playing there, I don't think it costs you anything. If you go and play with your child, then the child would understand and learn that, okay, now I can see that my parent, my mother, my father is close to me. Then the friendship and the connection will come back, and then things will be back to normal. So just for parents to remember their parental skills. So this is one of the trainings that we are doing also, to have a parental trainings in the communities, because as the communities and life is changing completely. It's like parents are now far away and they cheer at the children.
What messages do you think parents should be giving to a child that has been abused?
It's very important to know yourself. If you know that you are someone who is shouting, who's aggressive, who's has a frowning face, that one is not needed to a child who's been abused. A child who's been abused needs a soft approach, needs someone who will show care and love, someone who will show interest, especially in protecting the child. If you talk to a child in an aggressive way, while remember this child is undergoing a pain that is unbearable, and now if you shout, you make that pain even worse. So it is better, they need a very soft approach. Ask the child what she wants to do, something that we forget to talk about children. What would you like to do now? What do you want to see happening to yourself? Do you have anything that you can tell me? Do you want me to know about anything? Is there anything that you forgot to tell me while you were talking? If you have anything, let me know. You can just come to me anytime you want to talk. Feel free to talk to me. If you want to cry, tell me that your heart is still painful. You feel like crying. It is, always comfortable to cry. Now my mother passed away. I cried a lot last week. But after that, I felt felt so relieved that at least I took it out. Crying is acceptable. So if a child wants to cry, don't say, "Hi, stop, you're making noise." No. That is not acceptable, because you are suppressing the feelings of the child. And we as adults, we forget to respect that a child has feelings. We always come up with, "Don't do this, do this." We come up with, these big fingers, but we forget that the child is a human being with her own opinions. When we talk about the children's rights, the most important controversial article is making choice, the right to choose. And as Africans, unfortunately, our children, we make choices for them. And that is wrong, I think. We need to sit down and try to make our children understand and to make their own choices. If they want to go and become musicians, let a child go to school and become a musician. Don't choose for a child. So we have that bad practice of choosing for our children. So what we are saying in children's rights is that allow a child who's been abused to make her own choice, because maybe she will tell me, "I don't want to go and sleep in that house." Then you should take that, consider that there is something very, very just in that. Why don't you want to go in? Because here, you see here, children are playing outside. There's one child, I've been observing this child. Every time when he's about around 6, 7, I have taught these children to go around and pick up the papers and, bend them. This child doesn't want to go home. Then these other children have been observing her as well. Then they tell me, "This one doesn't want to go home." Then I said, "Why? Is she still outside?" Then they'll tell, "Yeah, she's outside." Then one day last week I asked the girl, she's about 6 years, "Tell me, you see, now it's late, it's getting dark. Why don't you want to go home?" "No, it's because she's staying with her grandmother. Her grandmother beat her here. She had so she was so scared to go home." So I think observation is something very, very important. We teach the community to observe children. If that child you see a child at this so late who doesn't want to go home, you should take that seriously. There's a message, a very strong message. Parents should be observant, so observant to the children. They should be able to read the mind of the children. I think it's very important to find out why are children not doing things, to understand children.
Well, I know you started the orphanage in 2001. What prepared you to counsel and deal with trauma that you deal with?
I was working in one of the hospitals somewhere in Sweden long time ago. And I happened to meet children who were neglected, about the parents being so irresponsible, not caring for the children. I did not understand how can a parent neglect her own child, give her own child medication or sleeping tablets for so many hours so that she can go out to the parties and enjoy. And I did not understand what was this happening. Then while I was working there, then I thought, is this thing happening only here in this country, or is it happening all over? I had no clue what was happening socially here, especially the protection of children in my country. Then I told myself that when I get back home, whatever I'm doing here in this country, I'm going to do it when I get back home. I want to see children who are happy. I want to see the environment that is child friendly. When I came back, I did nursing.
Okay.
And then I became a social worker.
Okay.
So after that, we did some courses, counseling children, counseling different social groups. So I was interested in counseling children.
If somebody wanted to get involved in a field like this, can you provide sort of a 1, 2, 3, 4, this is what you need to do?
I took a lot of time learning about my own self. Who am I? especially on my weaknesses, because I understood that working with abused children needs a lot. It does not end up only with a long certificate. Yourself should also contribute into that background of educational. You cannot take the certificate there. I know how to work with children, and then when you look into your own self, you see something different. So the two should mesh. Some people make wrong decisions when they go for career, choosing careers. So I think myself, I was very lucky that I know myself, I am a soft character, and I combined my softness into the career I wanted to pursue, that is looking after children. So I worked very hard to understand myself. So that was the first step. Then I went to law office. I told the lawyer that this is what I want to do. I got registered with law office. Then I went to the Department of Social Welfare. I told them that this is what I want to do. Then everybody was saying, the good idea, good idea. Then I got courage. I said, this is what I want to do. But there were those who were saying, now you are dreaming. Because when I started the project, remember I had no money, but I took these children, the first children that I took, and I had very strong support from my relatives, my friends, my neighbors here. Here's the seedlings, plant something so that you can eat with the children. Somebody from the shop would bring some rice, bread. We heard that you started something like this. Then here is some food, clothes, and so.
And this goes back to what you were saying earlier, is letting everybody know what you want to do.
Yes, exactly.
So that they can help you.
Then they can help me. Because if you don't go out and talk to people, how will they know that this is what you want to do? They will never read what is in your mind. So it's very important also to look around the resources, what we have. So I had that house. Only no money still. And after that, I think I trusted myself so much. Then I said, so there are positive people, there are also negative people. Then I said, no, I won't reject them. I'll take both of them. Then I said, I think the negative ones who were discouraging me, I said, I think I want to keep them. I won't delete them in my list. I won't delete them. I will take them as well, because I will prove to them that I know what I'm saying. I know what I want to do. It is within me, and I will do it. And you know what? All those who were negative, now they are shaking their hands. They're coming to me and saying, "We respect you." I was so lucky that I never got married. So I'm still single, because even now, sometimes I have a question at the back of my mind that if I was married, would I be able to take care of all these children? Then I have a question mark. Then I become so confused. Then I said, I don't think I would be able to pursue my dream. Because a husband is something else. We need to sit down and agree. If maybe I would have a husband who would say, no child, only our children, then I think I would be hurt myself. So it's listening to oneself, trying to have perseverance in fulfilling your own dreams.
Now, I read that you also, if there's abused children and the police know about it, they refer them to you. So you establish that relationship.
Yes, that one is working wonderful with the police, yes, and the magistrate courts.
Okay, great.
Yes.
And also, you also had to get funding.
Yeah, we also get support from the Department of Social Welfare, yes, and other business community, and some friends in other countries. So you see, we have some pigs. We got them from the American Embassy in Lesotho, and we got some seedlings from the community. So we've planted some vegetables, and also we are planting mushrooms. And some people also in the University of Ohio, it's Wittenberg University. They come here and help us with cleaning and to help us fundraise now that we don't have a shelter any longer. So the University of, not the university, a group calling themselves Friends of Lesotho. They're helping us a lot to fundraise so that we have our shelter back.
Well, yes, just to bring that up to speed, for the shelter was in fire not that long, a few months ago.
Yes, because now we don't have, the country is in crisis actually, because now you can see the space here. There we took more than 40 children, but here I can only accommodate 10, 15 children.
And that's in your home, in
Yeah,
your 2 bedrooms.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. As far as, what would you say the best life skill you have to deal with the trauma that you deal with on an ongoing basis?
Very good is to make these children as happy as possible. I am striving, I am doing my level best together with my colleagues to keep these children happy. I know, I ask them what do they want to do, what keeps them happy. They will tell me, we want to go to school, okay? Sharp, now they're going to school. What else do you want to do? We want to have to play. So they're playing. We want to have clothes, okay? Then I organize people to come. They bring clothes every day. They bring clothes for the children. Now, what we encourage children is to teach them about forgiveness. But we don't force them to forgive their perpetrators, because that won't be normal, won't be okay. So we only show them the importance of forgiving the perpetrators, because unfortunately, you know what, most of the children that are here, they've been abused physically and somehow by their own relatives or parents, people who are supposed to be caring for them. And we still remember that one of the fine days, these children will go back and live under one roof with the very same perpetrator. So then we arrange with the prison department. If a child wants to do that, remember, if he's willing to meet the perpetrator, the father, then it is well arranged.
What has been the most significant impact you feel you've made in your career?
I think I have influenced the community to love and care for the children and to stand up and protect their own children.
This is what I call our edgeness segment.
Okay.
And this is something that you've had to do that has made you uncomfortable, but you continually need to do it, or you would not have the impact that you have today.
I think it's to share my life with children who have never experienced any good parent or warm parental love. There, I could feel that I was taking a risk, but I think it was worth taking.
Right now, your team is down a little bit to 5, and you had 12. But you're a leader. You're a leader with every child you touch.
Yeah.
You're a leader with every person that works alongside you, for you, and also with the multitude of stakeholders that have invested with you. So, how would you define leadership?
I think I would say leadership is understanding people and accepting people with the way they are.
3 leadership lessons to someone who leads a project or an initiative or a home. What 3 pieces of advice could you give?
Be courageous. Don't listen to your own self. Self-supportive. Support your own self. Yes. Believe in yourself and be positive.
And if you had a 10-year-old daughter today, what advice would you give her?
I would tell my daughter, talk to me. I am your friend. Because I'll be doing that. I want this child to be open to me.
What do you wish you heard at 10 years old?
I wanted to know more about protecting my own self. Yes. Because, and also making appropriate decisions.
What's next for you?
I want to see myself having a lot of money so that I can protect more children. Being able to rebuild the shelter that was burnt down. And honestly, I want to Actually, I found a site where I want to put boys and teach them, okay, the academical subjects plus the human rights, so that when they grow up, they respect everybody else.
The world's your oyster, okay? Now you've been giving so much of your energy, your time, your money to everybody else. Now it's your time. What's one thing you'd like to do that you've never done before?
I think I would go out to a nice place with blue sea just to relax my mind.
And finally, what are your words of wisdom for African women?
I want African women to love themselves and to trust themselves and to tell themselves that they are good people who can do good things and protect the whole world.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very, very inspiring interview, and so much to learn about our children and understanding and paying attention.
Yes.
Really paying attention. Again, my name is Suzanne F Stevens, and I co-produce Wisdom Exchange TV alongside my husband, Michael K. Ginrich. If you know a woman we should be interviewing as we travel all over Africa, please email us at info@wisdomexchangetv.com. Also, please join us on our fan page, Wisdom Exchange TV, and let us know what you think of the show, or make comments on someone you really respect and an interview that you've really enjoyed. Make a comment. They'd love to hear from you. Lastly, I want to leave you with my words of wisdom. Children are human beings. They have a voice. We should listen to them. They're telling us important things, and we just hope it's not abuse. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.